Hello and a warm welcome to all the guys, gals, and non-binary pals watching. I am Lucas Holland, this is Wiki Weekend, and I'm joined, as always, by Karl Smallwood.
Hello. I'm wearing a shirt with lemons on it.
Today, I want to talk about something that maybe, brings a bit of controversy still to the world. And that is a bit of Game of Thrones.
So I guess we kind of have to talk about the fact that Game of Thrones is the only show I'm aware of that left a massive pop culture footprint and then mixed some concrete and filled it straight back in.
Yeah, it's very strange, right? It became, by season, 4 or 5, kind of the biggest pop culture moment, at least in, the Western world, as far as I'm aware. Everyone in terms of, America, Britain, places like that, it was inescapable.
People used to watch it at bars.
Everyone was watching it. It wasn't just the geeks or the nerds or whatever you want to say, watching these fantasy things. It broke into the absolute mainstream, and then the final couple episodes happened, and it died on its ass.
The best way I've seen how much Game of Thrones shot itself in the foot described is there was a 2-year period where we were all locked inside and couldn't leave the house, and no one did a rewatch.
Bear in mind, me and a few friends, during, the airing of the final season, we were, in Belfast, seeing shooting locations and, going on Game of Thrones-themed holiday, essentially. We were all in. And even none of us cared to talk about it after that final episode aired.
It was to the point where people were spoiling episodes as it was airing, which normally is seen as a dick move, but everyone seems to be in agreement of this shit's stupid, right? We can talk about this publicly, because it's stupid.
Yeah, I remember going on social media as the Battle of Winterfell had just aired, and it was everyone was just openly talking about every part of it, because it was hey, what the fuck's going on here? This is so bad I can barely see what's even happening.
Shit's stupid, I don't care about spoiling it. It reminds me a little bit of when Morbius came out, and the internet was in the unanimous agreement, shit sucks, so we're going to do whatever we can to ruin it for everyone else so it makes less money. To the point where it's oh, hey, here's Morbius as a GIF. Enjoy. Here's the entire movie torrented on, fucking Twitter.
On
and
Twitter,
no one gave a shit.
And, similar with Madam Web, right? Just that there were people doing open, you think of usual, oddish trailers and CinemaSins on YouTube and stuff like that, of, they normally give it a bit of a birthing period. It was, the day after. The
best thing about Madam Web, again, just as a summation of how little people cared about Madam Web, I remember seeing a tweet from someone of it's been out 4 days and the plot is still empty on Wikipedia. Dakota Johnson was spoiling it as well, because halfway through the press tour, she learned that it wasn't part of the MCU. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, that was real rough, because the amount of actors that are well, I'm in the Spider-Man universe, right? And Spider-Man's in those Avengers movies. That means I must be in. Not a lot of these actors are necessarily following the continuity of, what the Sony Spider-Verse, the Spunk, is doing, and whether it exists.
Which I don't like that Sony used their advantage to trick people to go into those Spider-Man movies.
And admittedly, there is some level of, I think that these actors and their agents should be maybe doing a little bit more research before taking these roles, but...
So why are we talking about Game of Thrones today, specifically?
Well, today, Karl, we're talking about Game of Thrones, partly because we have a sponsor. And that sponsor, Karl, just vaguely said, hey, I have got, some, cool world-building fantasy book to promote, and I think that it would be cool to talk about something fantasy-related.
Yes, so they wanted to sponsor a video that was fantasy-related, and we had a conversation about it, prior to recording, and you went, oh, they finished their book, Game of Thrones isn't finished. That's our lead-in.
Yes, right? It's just, hey, this book, It's not a particularly long book. You're not going to be waiting for 8 sequels to come out. It's done. You can just go and get it now. But anyway, Karl, we will talk about the rest of that later. Going into the wiki itself, we are talking about the Red Woman from Game of Thrones, also known as Melisandre, I believe.
Also known as, like, my god, this lady's hot.
They obviously have that plot twist that, oh, she's only youthful. Like, it literally has, on the wiki, youthful and true form. Like, is this a fucking Dragon Ball character?
See, I'd hope it'd be like Baldur's Gate, though, where if you manage to pull her, you could be like, can you just go back into your youthful form for this one for a bit, love?
And that's the thing, right, is they obviously, like many characters in Game of Thrones, they were very sexualized, and then people saw them in their, like, true aged witchly form and were like, oh dear God.
And that's just one of many examples of the classic trope of you get away with being evil if you're hot. Well, there's that meme, isn't there, of like, you know, like my morality leaving my body the moment I realise the villain is hot.
You know, it's a real life thing as well. Like, pretty privilege is definitely a real thing. It's just obviously more exaggerated within the fictional world we watch and enjoy. But I do think it's very interesting. And before we get into more of it, I will just say, obviously, we're talking about Game of Thrones. We're going to spoil everything. We're also I'm just going to mention vague trigger warning because I don't know what we're going to bring up, and Game of Thrones has got a lot of, like, weird shit in it, right? And a lot of death, a lot of sex, a lot of very over-the-top things. So, like, just a general trigger warning for anyone, in case, you know.
Game of Thrones is pretty fucking raw, is what we're saying.
Yeah, it really is, right? And I just want to be like, hey, just be aware, this is the subject we're talking about. But yes, Melisandre, often referred to as the Red Woman or the Red Witch, was a red priestess in the religion of the Lord of Light, and has been a close counsellor to the king, Stannis Baratheon, in his campaign to take the Iron Throne. And was she a close counsellor in the sense of, like, just to Stannis? Because throughout all of Game of Thrones, she's just, like, hopping to new people, right?
She's Wormtongue, but she actually gets away with what Wormtongue did because she's hot and Wormtongue just looks like a fucking sex pest. He literally is, right? Because in, like, Lord of the Rings, at least the movie, he's like, I'm gonna get your sister. God, like, when you rewatch those Lord of the Rings movies, Wormtongue makes me uncomfortable because he just looks ill.
That's kind of the point, right? Is that these people who have been deranged by the power, they are, like, the sweaty, like, hunchback people that are always portrayed visually in, like, a different kind of way to most of the other humans, right? Like, look at Gollum. Gollum got to that state from a hobbit. They were just a regular hobbit, and, like, the greed has corrupted them all that way, right? We're not talking about Lord of the Rings, we are talking about Game of Thrones, and I do find it interesting because as much as I joke about, like, oh, Melisandre's, like, hopping around and just promising different people that they'll be the true person, it's like, at the end of the day, it sums it up well, right? She's a priestess of the Lord of Light. She doesn't have allegiance to humans, she has allegiances to the Lord of Light.
Is it ever, you probably explored more in the books, but the fact that magic is real in Game of Thrones, and you've got literal physical proof that the gods are not only real, but can grant you power.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck does anyone worship any of the other gods?
It is weird, right? Because not to say that you can't have multiple gods, like, there's many pantheons of many gods, right? But the Lord of Light, we see working in real time during that show, like, the guy who's like, just strike me down, I'm gonna come back.
How many times have you brought me back?
It's the Lord of Light brings you back. I'm just the lucky drunk who says the words.
How many times?
5, I think. No, this makes 6.
Yeah, and then it literally comes back, and the Hound's like, how many fucking times do I have to kill you?
It is very provable that the Lord of Light definitely exists, but there are some things that Melisandre does, like burning people to death, especially a child, where it's like, don't know if this is always working out.
Can we go to one of the other gods? What about the many-faced god? that the faceless men worship. Can we go get him? What does he want us to do? Kill people? Fuck! Are there any gods that don't want us to kill people?
Melisandre, you know, again, we're jumping around a lot of Game of Thrones plots here, but
Yeah.
at one point she's like, Stannis, burn your child to death, then you'll become like king. And he doesn't become the person on the throne at the end of it.
He does burn his kid, though.
He burns his kid, and it seemingly all for naught, right? He still loses.
Melisandre's powerful. The Lord of Light is powerful. But nobody's more powerful than a writer who just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Or a pair of writers in the case of the Game of Thrones TV show, right?
Obviously, they had vague amounts of knowledge about how Game of Thrones is going to roughly end from the author, but I still do think that Game of Thrones, the books, aren't ruined by the show if they ever reach a finality. Like, if that book ever gets finished.
They'll have more time to build up to the twist that happened in the show, right? That's the problem people had with the final season of Game of Thrones. Everything happens too fast. It feels like they condensed a season's worth of character growth into one season. And you look it up and it's like, oh, that's literally exactly what happened. Because, like, Weiss and Benioff wanted to go do a Star Wars show. So they went, fuck
Yeah.
it. The story, as I understand it, is that literally everybody involved with Game of Thrones, except for like Weiss and Benioff, wanted to do 10 seasons. All the actors wanted to do 10 more seasons. And why wouldn't they? That's 2 to 3 more years of guaranteed work. All of the crew wanted to do 10 seasons, because hey, 2 to 3 more years of guaranteed work. HBO wanted to do 10 seasons because we've got 2 to 3 more years of our most popular show. And they wrote Weiss and Benioff a blank fucking check. George R.R. Martin was happy to do 10 seasons and serve as an executive producer because he loved serving in that role. But Weiss and Benioff were like, but we want to go do Star Wars, so fuck it. And for anyone thinking, well, what happened with that Star Wars show? They got shit-canned due to the response to Game of Thrones Season 8.
That's the thing, and I'm pretty sure they were linked with some kind of like Lord of the Rings thing as well at some point. That might just be my memory not being right, but yeah, basically they wanted to go do other projects, but because they fumbled the bag with Game of Thrones of all things at that point, everyone's like, well, we can't trust you.
How do you know it'll be good?
Because I know what is good. And so do you.
I don't.
They were on to be 2 of the most in-demand writers / directors in all of Hollywood, and they shit the bed. So I've got their like IMDb page in front of me as like, you know, a creative pair. So they did Game of Thrones from 2011 to 2019, and then it's just fucking dead. After that, television writing, they've got like 1 episode of a show called The Chair, something called The 3-Body Problem, and then a special that Leslie Jones did. And movie-wise, they did Gemini Man.
I heard really bad things about 3-Body Problem, and then I also heard bad... That was the Will Smith one, Gemini Man, that was really bad, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And they were basically on track to be similar to the Russo brothers, who did Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, and I think they're even now coming back to do like Secret War or something, right? Or Doomsday, maybe?
Do you know what cracks me up the most? Is that, if you look at their IMDb page prior to Game of Thrones, they've got fucking nothing. Prior to Game of Thrones, Benioff has X-Men Origins Wolverine.
And like, that's maybe the difference, right? Is before going to the MCU, the Russo brothers had on their catalogue of work like Arrested Development and Community, which are both widely regarded as like some of the best sitcoms of the past like 20 years. And at least parts of them, right? Maybe not some of the later seasons, but some of the earlier ones for sure. And yeah, they have proven themselves to be able to be good at multiple different genres and projects, whereas, yeah, like Why Somebody Else, they had their one golden ticket and they threw it away early for the chance of another bag of money. So you had a blank check.
I just went through Benioff's IMDb page, which is dire. Weiss's is even more barren. He's got Game of Thrones, 1 episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and then fucking nothing since 2019.
And like, obviously I love Always Sunny, but 1 episode is not much, right?
Yeah.
There's not much to go off. And
No, okay. D.B. Weiss's Wikipedia page. On February 6, 2018, Disney announced that Weiss and Benioff would write and produce a new series of Star Wars films. Towards the end of the season, the last season of Game of Thrones, a petition to HBO was started on change.org describing Weiss and Benioff as woefully incompetent writers and demanded they wanted more competent writers to remake the 8th season of Game of Thrones. This petition amassed 1.5 million signatures. In early 2019, Weiss and Benioff entered into an exclusive $200 million deal with Netflix to produce several films and television shows exclusively for the platform. In October of that year, it was announced that they exited their deal with Disney due to their commitments to Netflix.
oh no.
They have done nothing with that deal.
Well, no, they have. They've produced 2 shit movies.
It's no wonder these guys are fucking pariahs in Hollywood, is it?
Yeah.
They burned like 3 incredible deals back to back to back.
They fumbled the bag of the ending of Game of Thrones. Then they pissed Disney off. And then they produced some average to bad movies for Netflix. The only things on your CV are, I should say, burning bridges or being bad at stuff.
Imagine being offered the chance to direct and write 3 Star Wars movies on the bounce and saying fuck off.
I still have absolutely no clue how they didn't manage to lock down one creative lead for that, like, sequel Star Wars trilogy where it's like, you know, it went to, like, J.J. Abrams for the first one, and then Rian Johnson for the second, and then back to J.J. Abrams to reverse a bunch of shit from the second one. And
it could have been worse. They could have got these dipshits in.
I would beg to argue that at least the prequel movies, regardless of what you think of the quality, at least they follow a singular through point because they had one person in charge, right? Maybe Weiss and Benioff would have done a better job than 2 directors who were seemingly trying to just argue against each other between the trilogy.
Yeah.
Going back to Game of Thrones itself, Karl, I mean, obviously,
Yes.
for a vast majority of it, people saw it as pretty peak television, right? Like, it's not to disregard that much.
No, it was like, for a while, it was seen as the renaissance of prestige era television. And people seeing, oh, this is like the next golden age after like The Sopranos and The Wire and stuff.
As I say, it was one of the biggest things culturally in, like, at least, you know, our spheres. I can't get over, like, the fact that, yeah, maybe season 5, season 6 was kind of like, up to that point, seen as basically the greatest TV show running at the time.
It's curious, right? The moment they ran out of like stuff to crib from George R.R. Martin's original novels, the writing took a fucking nosedive.
Yeah, interesting that the moment the, like, actual physical book to read through was gone rather than just, like, you know, a bit of a helping hand from George R.R. Martin with the story. Like, yeah, all of a sudden, shit fell apart.
Well, what's it? People point out, like, look at Jon Snow in like earlier seasons where he's like basically reading lines from the book.
Yeah.
When he's giving like the big speeches, like, you know, the speeches that turn him into, like, you know, the King of the North. And then you go to like season 8, it's like, she's McQueen. That's the level of writing talent I expect from the guy who wrote fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you've got to imagine at that point that from their proven track record, looking back now, that their success was just George R.R. Martin happened to have, 5, 6 incredible books behind them already, and they jumped on the right ship at the right time.
How could they not have realised how shit they were at writing when the criticisms about the writing of the show only came in when they started writing the majority of the dialogue? Like, did they just crawl up their own asses and think we're the best? I wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine, I'm fucking top shit.
That intro to X-Men Origins Wolverine was alright, of like seeing Wolverine and Sabretooth fight through history.
Yeah, you mean the thing that should have been that should have been the movie?
Do you mean that montage with no dialogue?
These are the same guys who were like, when they got asked straight up, like, why did one of the dragons get hit by the Iron Fleet? Oh, Daenerys forgot. You mean Daenerys has got like 500 advisors who are like masters of military tactics? Just forgot.
Yeah.
She just forgot about the Iron Fleet, Lucas. Fuck it, shut up.
Shit's just teleporting around. It's hard to pay attention to teleportation powers, Karl. For people who want to get a little bit into, like, the lore of Game of Thrones here, Karl, we'll go to the background, because we've got a little paragraph on their background here. There's a lot of proper nouns in here, I know. Originally from the city of Ashai, located in the far east of Essos, Melisandre was raised by her mother, a slave, living in poverty. She claimed to know nothing but hunger as a child, and as a young woman she subsisted on a single bowl of unpalatable stew a day.
Well, she grew up in fucking like Oliver Twist or something, right?
Yeah, just... if stew's that bad that you're not even over twisting it and going like, please sir, can I have some more? That's some bad stew.
Can we just like give a shout outs to Oliver as well of being like such a greedy little shit? He's like, I want another bowl. It's a fucking legend.
I mean, I guess so, right? Like, yeah, you're hungry, but guess what? Everybody else is Oliver.
Oliver Twist is the patron saint of the guy who grabs a second slice of pizza before everyone's finished their first. What a hero.
The person that's like, don't worry, I only had half a pizza. It's like there was one pizza between all of us. But eventually becoming a Red Priestess of the Lord of Light, she claims to wield powerful magical abilities, particularly the power of prophecy by looking into the flames of fire.
See, they say she claims to have magic powers. She has magic powers.
Yeah, she definitely does have magic powers. They don't always seem to work out, so it does seem to maybe be ultimately up to the Lord of Light whether they want to, like, allow her powers to work, maybe, but...
Is the Lord of Light a troll? Did he just not like the Dothraki? Like, as cool as the visual of the Dothraki with their flaming swords running into the darkness is...
they just died.
Again...
It didn't help.
Military, like, tacticians. Like, earlier in the show, they talk about how, in an open field, no one can beat the Dothraki. What does Daenerys do with the Dothraki horde? Fight at night.
You know he's called the Night King, right? Of the White Walkers, the Ice People. Maybe you could have thought about altering the odds in your favour a little bit.
Yeah. Did you not think of getting anyone who's got arrows?
What's the name of her army?
Unsullied.
The Unsullied. I'm pretty sure at some point they showed having the ability to use bows. I might just be wrong there.
They also as well just respawn. Like, what we didn't see is that Daenerys Targaryen is like playing an RTS and just clicking that fucking repop button.
Yeah, there was a lot of fudge numbers in those later seasons. Like, we've got 2,000 people. We show half an hour of hundreds of people dying, and it's like, okay, well, most of them made it through. It's like, no, they what? What are you talking about?
The best one's that Grey Worm can teleport, and they never talk about it.
Well, everyone can teleport in that world, so it's not very notable, right?
Yeah. Like, why do we never talk about that everyone learns to teleport? Just teleport away, fuck it.
Game of Thrones Season 8 becomes like... You know when everyone asks the question, why didn't Goku teach everyone to do instant transmission? That's what Dragon Ball would have been, right?
It's like, did Melisandre just teach everyone instant transmission or something between seasons?
Maybe.
It never came up. Is that one of her powers? The Lord of Light has many abilities, such as instant transmission and the Kaioken.
But Melisandre wears a large ruby necklace that seems to glow whenever she performs her magic. The same necklace also hides her aging, prolonging her life in the process. And it does say that she died around the age of 400 years old.
You know, she had a good run.
But she had a pretty good run, right? Considering just she started out as a child of a slave eating a horrible stew every day, and she ended up being 400 years old. And maybe just the most deathly person in all of Game of Thrones, because she just keeps convincing everyone they're going to be fine and sends them to their death.
Admittedly, it's a very good tactic of like, hey look, I've got magic powers, you're definitely going to win this one, and then they immediately die, move on to the next person.
And obviously, like, during most of the show, she is with Stannis Baratheon. I am just being a bit playful with, like, exaggeration for effect. But, yeah, she does have several different moments where obviously, like, she's helping out the Dothraki. That's ultimately in the name to, like, help Jon Snow out because Jon Snow wants Daenerys to do well, but it does feel like she flip-flops around quite a lot. But anyway, Karl, as mentioned earlier, we need to talk about our sponsor for this video.
Let's go for it.
So, Karl, our sponsor for the video is an author called MWI, and they have a book to promote called War of the Remorphs.
That is such a cool name. What is a remorph? How is a remorph? If I hit it with a baseball bat, would it explode?
It does also mention that there is a short world history in the back of the book. So, that just means that if you want to know what a remorph is, then the book's there to already help you out.
I do love me an appendices or a bestiary when it comes to a high fantasy world.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I always enjoyed going through the complete works of Shakespeare is having that one entire book where it's got all the appendices in as well. So just every time you're unsure, you've got like that glossary at the back. You've got all like the little adages to help you out with kind of the context of the time and stuff, right?
You're like, yeah, what is a remorph? What are remorph? Help me here.
Well, Karl, to help you out a little bit, we've got a summary of the plot, which the kingdom of the Remorphs, land of the shapeshifters, comes under attack and is destroyed. Left alone, the young child Jerison, I hope, is fearing that they might come for him if he ever reveals his true self. He stays guarded even from his friends. Life takes an unexpected turn after leaving the simple life to go on an adventure. We do have a little bit of a cheat sheet here from the sponsor, so we can find out a little hint of what the Remorphs are. They specialise in their own kind of magics: light, dark, nature, logic, shape-shifting, and smithing.
Cool invented races in high fantasy, let's fucking go.
But yeah, I'm always down for like cool, magical new races that people have thought up of in their brains themselves. But it does say here that they are available at Barnes & Nobles and also on Amazon as an ebook.
Yes, so if anything we've talked about or mentioned sounds at all interesting to you, you can check that out at the links found below and also in the description. So thank you to today's sponsor. Let's get back to Melisandre. So there's one thing I want to know, Lucas, right? Does this wiki have a section on powers and abilities? 'Cause what can the Red Woman actually do?
Karl, I'm already there. I was waiting.
It's very unclear. She brings people back to life, but then for some reason death is a stake in that universe.
Yeah, right, because again, it doesn't seem like she's powerful. It seems like she's just, priestess of the Lord of Light. And the Lord of Light just gets to decide whether her powers work or not at the time.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because I like the idea of somebody being able to use the power of a god as like an avatar, but the god maybe just saying no fuck you. I do like that as a concept, but some of her abilities here says that Melisandre possessed a very wide and impressive range of magical abilities, making her a very powerful and formidable witch.
Doesn't she just, die in the show?
If you're just an avatar of someone else's powers, you're not always going to be safe, right? But I do question why the Lord of Light wouldn't just revive their priestesses.
If I remember correctly, she takes a necklace off and just, turns to dust. But it's like,
right.
Do you want to stick around for, 10 more minutes just to make sure that things go the way that you expect? It's like in Lord of the Rings, when they get the army of the dead, and Aragorn's like, look, I release you from your oath. It's like, I get it, Aragorn, you're a really noble king. Do you not want to just say, look, you've been around for 400 fucking years? Do you mind just doing one more sweep of Middle-earth? Just to make sure there's no orcs left before you go?
Just give us another half hour of your time, please, right?
Yeah, did he have to let them go instantly? Maybe there's still some orcs on the battlefield. Do you want to just make sure none of the Moomer kills are thrashing around and, crush a kid?
Yeah.
Invincible, endless army who never tire and have been around for hundreds of years.
Do you want to just go to Mordor and double check everything's going okay over there?
Do you want to help us clean up?
Yeah. But going back to the powers and abilities here of Melisandre, we already mentioned she has the ability to divinate the future at times. It's again, sometimes she just kind of gets it wrong. It's like Professor Trelawney, right? In I don't like to bring up Harry Potter, obviously, but just again, a woman who has proven that she can tell a future, but sometimes it's kind of just murky.
I think I can do that. That's called guessing. Right? Someone who can predict the future, but not all the time, is just called someone who can guess. I can guess. Lucas, do you know that you're going to die someday?
Well, that's essentially what she mentions to Harry, right? It's like, oh, you got the Grim. It's like, Okay, well, what's that mean? Well, it basically means you're deaf. Any elaboration? Any help on that? Just no, you fucked.
Yeah, we're all gonna die, dipshit. Can you tell me when? Is it a bus?
Fuck J.K. Rowling. Just, to get that back on the card.
Someone who didn't create an interesting or well put together universe right there.
But also, Melisandre has Shadowbinder magic, and I don't know what that means yet, but Shadowbinder magic sounds pretty fucking cool.
Right, control the shadows. Because you know what's like where shadows are? A lot of places.
Oh, okay, so this is bringing up the moment where she, gave birth to the Shadow Demon and never used that power again?
That's not about Game of Thrones that really pisses me off. There's multiple times where someone does something incredibly useful and they never use it again.
She just sends a shadow that assassinates Renly Baratheon, without trying, without any real problem coming up. It's like, do you want to just do that a few more times? Can you do that to the Night King?
Just do that to everybody that you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's like bringing people back to life. Maybe it's a really difficult thing to do. Okay, but bringing someone back to life is probably one of the more useful things in this universe. That's all your job is now.
I don't think ever a line where she's like, yeah, I can do this one time. It's extremely difficult. I've got one of these in my back pocket. It's just, why aren't you doing this all the time?
Well, it's like the question with Daenerys, right? Like, the dragons are the equivalent of a fucking nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
And she doesn't give a fuck, use them all the time. Until, Season 8, they are invincible machines of war that no army could ever hope to stand up against. Why does she need to get boats to cross the sea? Just fly across and burn everything in your path. Fly in a straight line towards the Red Keep and burn everything, like you end up doing anyway.
Yeah, because there's the one dragon that obviously gets taken down by the Night King. There's the next one that just gets shot by a boat.
I'll be honest, good shot though.
It was a good shot, but then the third one, without any worry, takes out all of the rest of those, not trebuchets, but whatever word for those, big crossbow things
the ballista that are on, the Iron Fleet, right?
Ballista, thank you. Yeah, it's like, oh no, they've got ballistas that can kill a dragon. It's like, don't worry, I've taken them out with the dragon. Wait, what? Why didn't the last dragon have the power to do that? Okay.
Well, last thing, she forgot about the Iron Fleet.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that you can just cut to a clip of the writer just saying, the character forgot? the super paranoid character who has, as mentioned, dozens of advisors whose only goal is, knowing everything that's happening. One of her advisors is, the dude who knows everything, right? Varys. The guy whose only job is, I know fucking everything.
Yeah.
And she forgot about the Iron Fleet.
They have quite a few powers here, Karl, so let me know if you want me to delve deeper into any of these.
Okay.
But Melisandre also has blood magic, pyrokinesis, resurrection, glamour magic,
yes,
slowed age/longevity, poison resistance, cold resistance, and alchemy.
So there's that is a really strong build in Skyrim.
Yeah, if you're playing D&D and you have all these powers, holy shit.
It's the classic thing about Game of Thrones, right? Of no one seems to know that they have really powerful hero units, and they use them really ineffectually. What was it the Battle of the Bastards? 1-1, the last giant. What are we gonna do with him? Oh, we can fight with his bare hands. Really? You only give him a tree, armor.
That's the thing. Crafting a giant-sized weapon, I can understand, is difficult within that world. Just put some big armor pads on them, right?
It's when they're fighting the wall, right? And there's that one giant who has a really big bow and arrow, and it hits a guy who's on top of the mile-high wall. It's make 1-1 one of them and put him right at the back.
Yeah.
Or just you know what? Some rocks. How about some really heavy rocks?
Yeah, just use them like a big catapult, right?
What do they have him? No, they have him on the front fucking line, so he's the most obvious target ever.
I was interested to see what glamour magic was, but it's basically just they have the power to cast glamours, which are magical illusions that alter physical perception and appearance of people and objects, which obviously she uses to help make herself become very youthful and beautiful.
That's the trick, isn't it? If she looks the way that she actually does, no one would fucking listen to her.
no one would get close to her, right?
Yeah, even though I would argue that if she had the appearance, a natural appearance like the old crone, I'd be more inclined to believe she had magic powers because she looks more like a traditional witch.
I'd be more inclined to believe she has powers, but I also don't believe that she could, sleep her way to the top kind of vibes. Like, I think she does that a couple of times throughout the show, right? Of just kind of sleep with people to gain their favour.
Just has them like all flopping out and everything.
But Karl, going to behind the scenes, which is the closest thing we've got to trivia here, Carice Van Houten, who was the actor that played Melisandre, was previously asked to audition for the role of Cersei Lannister when season 1 was shot, but schedule conflicts prevented her from auditioning. She was asked to come back to audition during the shooting of season 2, and was then cast as Melisandre.
And you know what? I can see that, because I've got a picture of like Carice Van Houten in front of me right now. She does facially resemble Lena Headey.
I can see what you mean there, and obviously, that doesn't necessarily matter. It's more about how good they are as an actor, and I can definitely see, she came back to play another malicious, murderous woman with a lot of power, so, yeah.
And clearly as well, they like the actress, right?
Yeah, of course.
They're like, this is an actress who has like a lot of presence.
And also notable that she's one of the, kind of, not many members of the main cast were, non-British, right? Carice, is from the Netherlands, so kind of, I think that fits quite well with their character of being someone from a faraway land, which is what they tend to do, right? Is, a lot of the cast are British, but then a few people that they bring from, other parts of the world from far away tend to then be cast as, non-British people, right?
Yeah, so Game of Thrones as casting roughly reflects the geography of the UK. So characters from the north in Westeros, so your Sean Beans, your Jon Snows, they're generally played by actors who are from the north of the UK. Sean Bean from Yorkshire. Alternately, actors who are playing characters from the south, so King's Landing, you have Charles Dance, who's from London, the south, and has a received pronunciation accent. Characters who are from further beyond north are played by people who are from Scottish.
Right, yeah.
And people who are from across the ocean are played by actors who are non-UK nationals. The exception being Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who is Danish, I believe. An interesting thing about his accent is that he does a received pronunciation accent, but he does a received pronunciation accent of someone who learned English as a second language.
Right, okay.
The casting directors found that interesting. So what they did is they had Peter Dinklage and Lena Headey copy the way that he talks, because it made the Lannisters sound like they've been educated privately, because they don't speak like anybody else in King's Landings. It's a subtle allusion to the fact that they're not quite the same as everyone around them, because they talk more proper.
It's no mercy letting a child linger in such pain.
Only the gods know for certain. All the rest of us can do is pray.
A little hint that maybe they were educated by someone from another land or something, right? Someone who's been brought in specifically with some money. It's obviously there's other characters the Mountain, I believe they're from Finland, maybe the second actor was.
Everywhere, right? There's 3 of them.
There's 2 or 3 of them, right? And yeah, it's not necessarily that everyone's British, but that's a recurring theme with a lot of the casting.
Largely British and Irish cast.
But it says there's a character here who is called Cresson, who I don't remember too well, but their actor, Oliver Ford Davies, said in 2013 when he asked Carice Van Houten why Cresson's poison kills his character but doesn't kill hers, she just replied, Melisandre is 400 years old.
I've got magic powers, get wrecked.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry, I've been XP farming for a long fucking time. I've got a max level character at this point.
Have you any idea how high my HP stat is? 20 poison damage a second. I wonder if I can survive that. Fucking low ass level bitch talking to me like they know me.
The night is dark and full of terrors, old man.
But the fire burns them all away.
I love that as a reasoning in their mind, at least, behind that character. Is just, I've been accruing power for 400 years. and I am like a priestess of a god. You can't fucking touch me. What are you gonna do?
You keep on, there's like that dude who worships like the Lord of Light who dies and just comes back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I love that bit with the Hound where he meets the Hound again, and the Hound's like, "Have I got to kill you again?" He's like, "Look, I'm not mad." And I love that he's not mad. He's like, "Look, you killed me, but I'm over it."
Admittedly, like even at the time, he was like, "All right, yeah, kill me. I'll be back. It's fine."
That's a baller move, that though, isn't it?
It is just acting like a fucking Marvel character out here. Just, I'll be back. It's okay.
Don't worry about it. It's like, you know what? I've been killed before. Don't worry about it, mate.
I always did wonder how that guy didn't become more of a main plot thread of the Lord of Light wants you to stay alive. Could you not try and take the throne? And he's like,
I'm good. You don't want me to do that. He wants me to punish sinners. I love that bit where like they're hanging those dudes. And the Hound and him have a conversation about how many of them the Hound is allowed to kill. And you have the Hound be an absolute fucking gangster, where he steals the dude's shoes as he's hanging to death. He steals his shoes before he's not even dead, and like the Hound's looting his corpse.
He's pre-looting the body, right?
Fucking hell, like, no wonder the Hound was so high level, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of XP farming.
Just looting somebody's body before they're even dead. Like, what you doing? It's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Well, it's like that one, isn't it? Of you'll outlive. It's like you'll outlive us all, and he goes, he won't, and just kicks the fucking chair out from under him. Right? It's such a brutal line. What's your favourite moment in Game of Thrones? Like, we've spent a long time shitting on it. Any favourite moments in there?
I think one of my favourite moments up until their death is just Pedro Pascal being the most charming fucker in all of Westeros.
You just watch him in those early seasons and you realise this is why this guy got famous, right?
I tell you a secret. You're not the golden lion. You're just a pink little man who's far too slow on the draw.
Yeah, like the first half of that fight where you think he's got him, you think the Viper's going to beat them out in, that was such an emotional, like, horrible moment for me because I was cheering the Viper on so much. I was like, yeah, he's fucking done it. Get him. And it's like, oh.
And the worst bit is that he loses because the mountain cheats.
He loses because he's cocky, right?
Yeah, but like, a detail I love about that fight is that if you look at like Jaime Lannister is getting mad hype in the audience because he's so excited to see the Viper fight because he's heard about how fucking good he is. And you see like Jaime Lannister lean out of his seat to watch him fight because he's like, oh my god, this guy is fucking poetry in motion.
He was better than the Mountain. He was just a cocky dickhead.
You're just cocky. Speaking of the Mountain, I do love the bit where Cersei has the Mountain as her bodyguard. And you have those, like, dudes from, like, whatever those dipshit religious nut jobs are, tell the Mountain to step aside. It's like, the ball's required to tell the physically largest human in existence to stand aside.
It's very interesting, right? Because you can see in that moment how much power the church really thinks they have. Of like, oh, you're going to take down, like, undead Mountain just with your words.
I just think it's the fact that he's the physically largest human being in existence. And the other bit is, like, I don't... Is it Tyburn, like, the weird maester who's, like, evil and brings the Mountain back to life? Where the Mountain... Where he tells the Mountain, listen to your lady, and he just smashed his fucking skull into the wall. And he's so fast.
Just don't fuck with Zombie Mountain.
It's just, I think it's just how quickly he kills that guy. He doesn't have a chance. He just smashes his head into the wall and throws him down the stairs.
Which means he could have crushed the Viper that quickly, right? He just wanted to make it harder. Oh, he just wanted to watch Pedro Pascal struggle.
Like, amazing they got cast as Joel. Because I remember a friend of mine, because they were watching Last of Us Season 2, and they didn't know that Joel died. And they just messaged me like they did it to Pedro Pascal again.
Yeah, maybe they just looked at how well his head popped the first time and went, yeah, that's the one. Oh dear, but thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a lovely time watching this video, and I hope you all have a great day.
Hell yeah.
Wow, Karl. That was a really great video that we both just watched.
It was indeed, yes. I greatly enjoyed our discussion of Topic.
I love Topic.
I do, yes. Like, you know, the stuff we talked about while discussing Topic was very interesting, and I hope the audience found it interesting too.
You're one sexy man. Fill up, J. Fry.
And you know who else we have to show love to, Karl? That would be, of course, the people on our shout-out tier over on our Patreon.
We certainly do, Lucas, and if anyone would like to join our Patreon to get a shout-out at the end of the videos, they can do so by following the links found below. As a reminder, we have a standing offer, a challenge, if you will, to our audience to try and come up with a name to shout out that is difficult for us to pronounce or just embarrasses us with our lack of knowledge, as people did last month, with the reference to the Transformers movie we didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a rough one. People certainly let us know about that, but hopefully maybe we do a little bit better this time with knowing what all the references are.
Ba weep grana weep ninibon.
Ba weep grana weep ninibon.
Well, I certainly get the reference in the first person we have to shout out. So the first person we have to give a shout out to is Bee of Awesome. Specifically, their name reads, Bee of Awesome do a fusion dance to make Karl or Carcass. P.S. Wish me luck with the calves this month. And Lucas, are you feeling a fusion dance?
I mean, yeah, sure, let's go.
Okay, so do you remember the fusion dance?
I do, because you got to kind of go that way and then that way.
You go that way, and then it's you're going to do it. So
fusion. There we go. We did our best. The Discord
also,
fusion.
We'd have to get really far back as well to make sure we can fit our arms on screen. Because I feel like with our height difference, if we try to do a fusion dance, we would do the thing where your fingers don't quite connect, and we'd end up creating like a really skinny one or a really fat one.
But then the next person we have to shout out is Dan Daly. So thank you so much, Dan Daly.
And I am a big fan of the alliteration. The more alliteration, the better, in my opinion, which a couple of our Patreon supporters have taken to heart by turning their name into a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But there's no tongue twister here, Lucas, with Judge Dredd. Simply Judge Dredd. And I just want to give one more shout out, because every time I point out that Judge Dredd is supposed to be like satire, some people don't get it. And it's like, do you really not get that it's supposed to be satire when Judge Dredd uses white phosphorus indoors?
Shh, Karl. That's just badass, right? That's just cool.
It's like, well, I didn't realise Judge Dredd is a commentary on the over-militarisation of the police. White phosphorus grenades authorised for use indoors, next to people's houses.
Oh. That would lead to, Karl, people kicking the bucket.
It would indeed.
That's how we thank the next person who supports us, kicking bucket with a little bucket emoji afterwards.
I love us like, again, at some point, we're going to get people to submit in hieroglyphics.
We have to, yeah.
Like, people are going to be submitting hieroglyphics or just like, Sanskrit. Or just like, okay, I translated the sound that an owl made. There you go, done.
Like,
figure that out.
What happens when you put Wingdings into Patreon names, right?
Oh god, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out what happens when you try and get Microsoft Sam to say Wingdings.
Put out an APB on a Eustace R. Dewo. Better start with Greektown.
Right. And the next person we have to shout out is Lucille DeSteele. And thank you to Lucille DeSteele for letting me put in more clips of one of my favourite film, Real Steel.
Please do something!
Not yet.
That's right, Charlie, not yet.
I don't care how limp the excuse is. If there's an opportunity to put a clip of Real Steel into a video, I'm putting a clip of Real Steel into that video. Specifically my favourite clip, where right at the end of the film, Hugh Jackman, who's in control of the robot, just go with it, he's fighting like an 85-ton mega super billion-dollar robot, and he just goes... he just gives him like, I'm not fucking done, I didn't hear no bell.
I gotta tell you folks, the champ looks tired. This robot seems to be running on empty. I don't believe it. Adam is taunting Zeus. Mr. Turbo. He's actually asking for more.
And Karl, if we're going to use this as an excuse to throw in some like fun clips from comfort movies, then I have to thank Michael Tatum for supporting us, so I can throw in a clip of one of my favourite Mikes, and that is Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Oh, well, hello there. What's your name?
Michael Tatum.
Is it ever confirmed that his full name is Michael Wazowski, or is it just Mike?
I don't know about the Michael. It's definitely Mike Wazowski. I don't know whether it's Michael Wazowski.
Because I know, like, Sully is James P. Sullivan, right? Like, he has, like, a full proper name. I'll double check. and I'll put like a picture on screen to confirm whether or not is he Michael Wazowski or is it Mike?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you, right? When I found out your name isn't Lucas.
Shush, that doesn't need to go in. It's fine.
The thing that Joel is that's lore. That's deep lore. So wait, what? Lucas's name isn't Lucas? What the fuck is it?
Shh. Cut the clip. Cut the clip.
Shh. Don't tell people his secret real name. So we move on now to, speaking of secret real name, Rosalindus Memphis. And I did try last time we shouted out Rosalindus Memphis, who is a returning supporter. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. A clip from the song Walking in Memphis, because I like that song, and it's the only song I could think of with the word Memphis in it. I put in 1 second of that piano intro, instantly copyright struck. Keep in mind as well that this shout out goes at the end of the video.
Yeah.
So at the end of a 50-minute long video, whoever owns the rights to that song, Mark Cohen, I think it is, his music label must have seen this video. Oh, it's a 55-minute long video. They use 1 second of his song.
We own that shit.
We can claim all that money. It's like, fuck you.
I'm going to make things a little bit more difficult for you then, Karl, because I'm going to say, thank you to the next person who is on our chart tier, of course, Split Screen. And I was going to mention, as you mentioned, music, just putting in some Starscream music from Transformers Devastation.
Prepare to be lost in space, Autobot!
Oh, you can get away with that. Video game music you always get away with.
Oh, okay.
So I'll definitely put the clip in of Starscream's theme song from Transformers Devastation. That game whips ass. And you know what? Whoever wrote that song won't send us a copyright strike because they want it to be shared. They know how rad it is. You know what, Karl? You put that clip of Starscream's theme in. It's awesome. More people need to hear it.
Hopefully a Transformers clip will make up for our devastating Transformers miss last month.
And I will certainly put in the clip of Starscream flying into frame as Butt Rock starts playing in the background in the middle of space, where he just screams "Prepare to be lost in space, Autobots!" My favourite quote from Starscream is in the challenge mode, where one of the challenges is fight Starscream and Thundercracker and 15 other fucking jets at once. And it's the only time in the game Starscream ever says the line, "Death from above." But he says it so quick because he's flying as he says it. He's like, "Death from above!" and just flies it.
Destruction from above!
And as mentioned earlier, there's a gauntlet being thrown down for our audience on Patreon to challenge us with tongue twisters. Someone's taken that gauntlet, dipped it in shit and slapped me across the face with it. So their name is the Boletus Bajando Baja Blast Buffing Bacasti Caca de Buffalo Bombonado Bolodeses Bucanada Ebaca Bailando Con Barbosa. And I will say, I'm a fan of tongue twisters. I'm not a fan of tongue twisters in languages I don't speak. Or my favourite poem. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't Fuzzy Wuzzy.
And in that cut...
So I'm good at tongue twisters, just not ones in languages I don't speak.
I was giggling because Karl has clearly cut him fumbling a tongue twister out.
That's getting cut as well, fuck it.
And then I guess one name to challenge me to shout out is Tiniqui Ochata Octiclane Tomi. And you always correct me on this one. It's a Nahuatl, the language, yes?
Nahuatl, I believe, yes.
I'm getting there.
Mexicano, I believe.
I'm getting there.
Again, we don't speak the language, so we appreciate people trying to challenge us on our pronunciation, but for a tongue twister, give me a tongue twister in English. And speaking of little, the final person we have to shout out is ghost emoji, little ghost emoji, ghost emoji. And Lucas, who's your favourite little ghost? Is it Casper? It's got to be Casper.
I mean, the moment you said little ghost, the first thing that came to my brain was Casper. So if not my favourite, it's at least word association, right?
Yeah, Casper, the friendly little ghost. Should we do a video about Casper at some point? I'd like to rewatch that movie to see if it's held up. To be fair, I would actually low-key kind of love a reboot of Casper the asshole ghost with a gun.
Oh, dear. But yeah, I guess thank you all once again for a new month of more support from all you lovely folks. And it's just Always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Support is never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you. Have a great time.
Yeah.